I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise.
Now, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, that's where I put my foot down, and I have promised, and I've said this, and if you've been on the channel for a while, you know that I will dedicate my entire channel into bringing down Amazon if they screw with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite things of all time, and that's why I have promised to dedicate my entire channel to the destruction of Amazon if they screw it up.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Nerdrotic.com.
In just under a month, we could possibly witness a giant global disaster, the biggest flop in the history of television / streaming, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Prime. And quite frankly, I was going to take a couple of weeks off from making Rings of Prime videos because I thought all had been said and done, and oh, was I wrong. The last 48 hours have been cringe clip after cringe clip, and the best part about this is they keep putting them on YouTube so they can get ratioed, and the comment section, chef's kiss. This has been the Canadian truckers and Dutch farmers of comment sections, and we'll get to that, but first let's go to both Entertainment Weekly and Entertainment Tonight, who decided to put out some clips that I don't think helped the series too much, and really I thought it was bad when Empire Magazine put Galadriel on the cover, manspreading with her legs so wide you expect Durin's Bane to come flying out of her vag. No, it actually gets worse, and while I'm not the kind of guy who says I told you so, I will take this opportunity to once again cue Razor Fist.
F you, I was right! F you, I was right! F you, I was right!
As you may or may not know, I know what happens in this series. I know the general plot. I know Galadriel's journey, which is largely fan fiction. As far as season 1 is concerned, I have heard up to 75 to 80% being a total fabrication. Celeborn is dead for now, and it looks like we are going to get Hot Sauron. I wonder if somebody can change him, but it won't be Anutar, the Lord of Gifts.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
I also heard that Galadriel is going to have a certain fighting style, and there might be some wire work and some Neo moves, and we unfortunately got some confirmation. You'd think that would be enough, but we are not done. Let's go to Entertainment Tonight. Rings of Power details a new era in Middle-earth. Every good quest needs a fellowship. I hope that's not an actual quote.
Every good quest needs a fellowship.
My apologies, I should have put some sort of cringe warning on this video. The Lord of the Rings prequel series, The Rings of Power, is more than ready to thrill fans with a new epic adventure inspired by the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, a lot of this article is just word for word from the clip, but I think this particular quote, it's best if you hear it from me. The Second Age is the great unfilmed story in Tolkien's entire legendarium, and it will remain unfilmed because you're not taking much from it. With the forging of the rings and the Last Alliance, which none of this happens in season 1, showrunner Patrick McKay previews an ET's exclusive featurette from the upcoming Amazon Prime Video series. We felt that this was the story that deserved to be told. You mean the one that Tolkien didn't? What Tolkien represents? It's really important that we keep his legacy alive, shares Nazanin Benyadi, who plays Bronwyn. You know, guess who's coming to Second Breakfast? A human healer in the upcoming series, which chronicles a time period in which darkness descends on Middle-earth. Why's it gotta be darkness descending on Middle-earth? You know, that's funny. That makes me think of something. The showrunners recently came out and said The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power won't be influenced by modern-day politics. Showrunner says the show aspires to be timeless, like the original books, that it's not really adapting, it's only inspiring inspired by. Yet that very statement is contradicted by Nazanin Benyadi, who says her character is an activist, credits Prime writers for giving female characters agency. Additionally contradicted by producer Lindsay Weber from Jar Jar Abrams' Bad Reboot, the destroyer of franchises, also the organization that said no more white comfort while the country was burning down. It felt only natural to us that an adaptation, which is now an inspiration, of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like.
The Second Age is the great unfilmed story in Tolkien's entire legendarium.
Again, it's going to remain that way because they're making most of this shit up.
With the forging of the rings and the Last Alliance. And we felt that that was the story that deserved to be told.
Two events that are roughly 1,930 years apart. Two individual stories that might have been interesting to see if they were guided by more talented minds and more creative hands.
Galadriel has been on a quest for over 1,000 years.
Nope, never happened.
Scouring Middle-earth, searching for this elusive
rationalization for fan fiction that's going to substitute poorly for actual source material. Is that what you're looking for?
undiscovered, very real evil.
Called Amazon.
Ultimately, she knows this danger exists. This evil has to be stopped.
What do you think I'm trying to do, lady?
From the beginning, we knew she couldn't do this alone. Every good quest needs a fellowship.
It's time to stop!
I'd love to tell you at this point that we were done with the cringe, but no. Then we head over to Entertainment Weekly, which I have to be grateful gave us the most memeable video of this entire series. And we don't even have time for this article because we have to jump over to the other EW article that gave us the Power Player covers, and someone thought this was a good idea. They all look like they're in hair product ads.
Salon Selectives presents hair so beautiful you feel like you just stepped out of a salon.
Salon shine, Salon Selectives, Salon glow, Salon Selectives.
Introducing Salon Selectives, new from Helene Curtis. 4 salon shampoos, 4 salon conditioners. You select the combination that will give you salon beautiful hair.
Salon style.
Feel salon beautiful every day.
Salon Selectives.
And this one, oh no. But within these articles, there really is nothing new except the usual Amazon misinformation. This is my favorite. There are no hobbits in the Rings of Power. Well, there shouldn't be, but there are. Apparently, Amazon can't call them hobbits, though. Those tiny pint-sized halflings didn't exist at the time of the Second Age, but the show will include Harfoots, who are hobbits. Early predecessors to hobbits. No, they're just hobbits. One key Harfoot is Eleanor Nori Brandyfoot, a completely original character, one of a few, played by Australian actress Markella Kavanagh. Most Harfoots lead a quiet, under-the-radar existence, but Nori has a Baggins-like yearning for adventure because she's female Frodo. And we have Arendir, who is pictured right here, didn't mean to rhyme that, on the white chocolate Kit Kat. You can't make this stuff up. There's so many qualities to the role, but being a non-canon character, there's also boundless possibility of completely subverting and vandalizing Tolkien. Then there's his forbidden love, Little House on the Patriarchy girlfriend, Bronwyn, where the actress Benyadi says of her own character, on many levels, it's like a fantastical version of myself. Then there's Disa, played by Sophia Numvedian. Let's all say it together, she's also the first female dwarf in any screen adaptation of Tolkien's work.
So I play the character of Princess Disa. She is the first female dwarf that we will ever see.
I don't believe you.
On screen. Woo, woo, woo.
I don't know how much more I can take.
She is the first dwarf of color.
Did she just say dwarf of color? Oh my God, she said dwarf of color. No.
To be able to host this moment and make this huge franchise accessible for all the generations across the screen is an iconic moment for me and hopefully for the world to draw in the new fans.
I'm not sure if I'm going to survive this, and to state the obvious to the NPCs who get their very empty brains filled with this information over and over again, Lord of the Rings has always been accessible. It's one of the most translated books on the planet. It is one of the best-selling books on the planet. There is absolutely nothing keeping you from going to your local used bookstore and buying probably a pretty damn cheap copy and reading it right now over watching this garbage or buying any of the books with this garbage on the cover. Okay, we got one more clip. We can do this. We finally got a clip with some dialogue. Let's see how the showrunners were able to translate Tolkien.
These orcs were meddling with the powers of the unseen world. Some dark sorcery of old. But what was their purpose?
Out of the 8 episodes of footage, they decide to show us a poorly dubbed Galadriel describing exactly what's happening on screen.
Surely it is lost to the ages now. Whatever happened here was long ago.
I'm just going to assume that if something is lost to the ages, then it happened a long time ago, but I'm sure our girl Galadriel will figure it out.
Water. Even stone cannot hide the mark of one whose very hand is flame unquenched. He was here. Sauron was here. Tell the others to rest while they can.
Well, CSI Middle-earth is going to be much worse than I thought. And even though we're watching another beloved franchise bite the dust, don't get down, because this time it's different. This time the fandom isn't taking it. And quite frankly, they have been the most entertaining part of this, and this is why I'm looking forward to the premiere of The Rings of Power on the anniversary of Tolkien's death. Every single clip they put up on Twitter and Instagram gets clowned. Every single video they put up on YouTube gets ratioed to hell. The memes will continue to be spectacular, and the comments section, particularly since the San Diego Comic-Con trailer was posted, has been pure gold. So the 3 Comic-Con clips that were put up have all been ratioed. The Comic-Con trailer has been ratioed to the tune of 298,000 dislikes, and the most recent clip from August 2nd has been ratioed at 12,000 dislikes. But the real story here is the comments. I don't know how this started, and I don't care. It's glorious. It's been going on for days, possibly weeks, and it's happening to every Lord of the Rings on Prime Video. I love the part where Sauron said, "You're gonna need a bigger ring," and was just phenomenal. Tolkien himself is probably crying tears of joy in heaven as we speak from Hexaconig 707. The part where Aragorn says, "It's Morbid time," and he fights off Nazguls at Weathertop is truly immaculate. Even Tolkien could not have written it better. From Virgil. Freddie G, the part where Sauron says, "Frodo, I am your father," and then Frodo said he identifies as an orc, gave me chills. I cried uncontrollably when Gandalf said, "I'll never let you go," after Jack gave him a spot on the floating door so he wouldn't freeze in the frigid waters of the northern Atlantic. From Scrody McBoogerballs. Christian Struck, "Oh my god," Elrond saying, "I'm gonna make her an offer she can't refuse," and then Galadriel refuses it. Stunning. Brave, independent, this is the legacy of the professor. Matthew McCrory, I love the part where Sauron calls Saul Goodman and gets granted bail at $7 billion US. The bit where Saul had to pick it up at the dunes of Harad was a piece of cinematographic mastery. I don't know if he meant to do that or not, but it's kind of funny. So profound. Philip Dawes, when Sauron says to Galadriel, "I spy with my little eye," and she responds, "You have not seen what I've seen." Truly the start of an epic tale. Joe Bob Henry Bob 2000. I especially appreciate Amazon's commitment to have even more face punches than Roadhouse. That's quite a challenge. I hope they're able to live up to Tolkien's legacy in that regard. That is just a small sample size. Again, they have been going on for days, and they will continue to go on probably for the rest of this year. And I mean on and on and on and on, and it is brilliant. And the show isn't even out yet, and when it is eventually released, it'll probably be forgotten in weeks. But what won't be forgotten is the Tolkien fandom, the one fandom that stood up, the one fandom that's undefeated, and the memes.
Into the fire! Destroy it!
And just like that, the series was canceled.
Woo, woo, woo!